What's up, people of YouTube? Welcome to episode 53 of the Bros Talking Soccer podcast. I'm Dave, here with my brothers Christian and Matt to discuss stories from around the soccer world. Christian, say hello.
Hello. I would like some stories.
Yeah, I would like some stories too. Luckily, I got that out of the way, and it will be cut from the podcast. Matt, say hello.
Hello. How are you guys?
Good, thanks. All right, I think we are ready to jump right in. Christian needs to make dinner before his practice, so we are going to get going right away. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to episode 53 of the Bros Talking Soccer podcast. I am Dave Knittel, here as always with my brothers Christian and Matt to discuss stories from around the soccer world. Christian, how you doing today?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, thanks. Made it safely back from San Diego. How was your Thanksgiving?
It was sufficient.
That's good. That's good. I missed you guys. So hopefully next year I'll be able to make it back. Matt, how was your Thanksgiving? How are you doing?
My Thanksgiving was good, Dave. Good time with family, minus a couple. But I'm feeling all right. I just donated plasma today. It's the first time, so I'm pretty dehydrated and tired.
Okay, get some water and hopefully
I'm going out on Tuesday.
All right, get some water. Try to be safe. My trip was good, guys. Thanks for asking. First time in San Diego. That was good. Christian, please, dear God, stop rustling with the microphone and try to be careful with that. And
I literally have not moved.
Yes, you have. When Matt was talking, you were rustling around, and it was very annoying. So please try to be careful. That's all I ask. Okay, and back to the programming. Christian, do you have our trivia question for the week?
I do, Dave. I don't know if you know what the answer is, Matt, but I know Dave does not yet. This weekend, a monumental own goal was scored in the Bundesliga. How many own goals have been scored in the Bundesliga in their history since 1962?
Okay, so we will think on that, listeners. Matt and I will give our guesses at the end. And hopefully you guess better than we will, because I have a feeling we are not going to be good. Getting right into our topics here. First topic, Gennaro Gattuso is now the AC Milan manager. They have sacked Montella, and AC Milan had that huge spending spree in the summertime, brought in a ton of players, but have been underperforming. I believe they're 7th in Serie A right now. Christian, what do you make of the Gattuso appointment?
I like Gattuso. I really I like the way that he kind of inspires his teammates, especially I just know him when he was a player. I don't really know how well he's done as a manager. I kind of did a little bit of research into him, and he hasn't had the greatest start to his managerial career. He's bopped around a little bit, but he bops. He is a fiery personality. That's what I remember about him. He's a lot of passion in his game. He's a little bit reckless from what I remember. He can lose his head pretty quickly, but he's gotten older. I think he's probably gotten more mature with that. And just reading a story about him with Dybala at Palermo was so funny. He said he used to kick Dybala over and over again to teach him how to take hits. And I just think that's such a funny, perfect Gattuso moment right there.
Yep, I can totally see him doing that. Matt, what do you make of this appointment?
Yeah, I don't really know too much about how he's doing managerially, but he was a great player. I think he probably knows everything about the game. He won a World Cup. He won Champions League with Milan, right?
I believe so, yeah. Well, he may have won 2. Yeah.
Yeah. So, he's a proven winner. He knows the game, obviously. He's a Milan guy, so I'm excited to see how he does. It's always interesting to see club legends go back. It works out so well at some places.
Yeah, Matt's bringing the energy today. I agree with you guys. I think he's clearly knowledgeable about soccer and has the experience from a player perspective. But I know when he was in Serie B last year, I believe. It may have been last year or the year before. I believe it was Parma. I don't know. I don't remember the exact team, but I know that they just didn't give up any goals. They didn't score any goals, but they had the best defensive record, but only scored like a handful of goals. And so I hope he can translate some of the attacking play that AC Milan clearly has a talent to be attacking, but I just worry about them being too defensive. So that's what I'm going to be watching for there. Guys, anything else to add?
Nope.
Christian?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Oh man. Okay, let's move over to Juve and talk about their match with Barcelona in the Champions League last week. The Juventus fans gave Andres Iniesta a standing ovation as he came off the pitch. You see this maybe a handful of times at an opposing, team's home ground that a player gets applauded off the pitch. I actually didn't watch the game, but I just wanted to get, Matt, your thoughts on opposing kind of fans applauding a player. And, Iniesta, did he deserve it? I don't know if you happen to see the game, can give any more background there.
Yeah, I'm fine with opposing fans standing when a player deserves it. A player like Iniesta, how classy he is. Was he he's the only player with a Euro man of the match, a World Cup finals man of the match, and a Champions League final man of the match. For only player ever, I think.
I don't know. That sounds good. Yeah. Yep.
Like he's one of the most talented players in the world, and he's always been a class act, always a good representation in the media. So I feel like he, like seeing this, it doesn't surprise me because he's so well respected in the soccer world. I didn't see the game or played very well.
Okay. All right, Christian, did you happen to see the game? I know you're a Barca fan.
I did not. I had to work that day, like every other Champions League game, so that sucks.
Sorry. Sorry to hear that.
But honestly, the man is a genius on the field. He is, and he deserves the recognition that he gets. He's so classy. He never thinks that he's above anybody else. He is above most other people, but he does not act that way. And he is incredibly talented. And in Italy, especially at a club like Juventus, I'm not surprised. They love that type of style. I mean, they loved Pirlo when he was there. And although they're not exactly a similar quality, well, not quality, but style of play, I think they just love classy players like that who just go about their business, aren't all about the media, aren't all about just kind of the recognition that they're going to get. And that he really has earned it with all of his performances that he's put in over the years.
Agreed. My favorite, so I don't have anything more to add on this, but one of my favorite videos of Iniesta is when he went undercover as I can't remember if it was a T-Mobile or AT&T employee, and he was just sitting in the store I think it was Barcelona, but it was somewhere in Spain, and just seeing people come up to him and I just remember the one guy's reaction. He turned the corner, saw him, and his eyes just got really big, and he went sprinting out of the store to go grab his friends. And so it was just a really funny video. So maybe if I find it, I'll link to it in the show notes. But yeah, clearly a class act, and I'm sure he deserved the applause. Christian, would you ever applaud? I guess they're not really rivals, Barca and Juve, but could you ever see you applauding a Red Bulls player? That may not be a fair comparison, but another MLS player.
I would have applauded Henry. He's probably the only one that I would have applauded that went to the Red Bulls, but another MLS player probably. I mean, I lost my mind when Stevie G came to PPL Park at the time. So yeah, I would.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Let's move over to Spain. Stick with Barcelona, move over to Spain, but their domestic league game over the weekend. Barcelona drew 1-1 with Valencia, and Messi had a shot right at the Valencia goalkeeper. The goalkeeper palmed it down right through his own legs and went over the line, but the goalkeeper sprinted back, smacked it off the line, and the goal was not awarded. Christian, what did you make of this? La Liga still doesn't have VAR. Do they need VAR? Do you excuse the officials at all? Because it was a bang play. What do you think?
Well, going off of what you just said, he didn't smack it off the line. He smacked it out of the goal. It was clearly in the net. And I just don't know how a referee – it really wasn't close enough, in my opinion, to not be given as a goal. It was at least a foot over the line at that point, if not more. I don't know. Did you see the video?
I've seen the video.
Okay.
So you can keep going. I can give my perspective, but I'll let you keep going first.
I know it's hard in real time, and Lampard's goal, I think that was further in, but that was just absurd when it happened in 2010. I just think that yes, it's time for goals, and in my opinion, I think only goals should be reviewed. I don't think that they need VAR in all types of aspects of the game, but goals absolutely need to be reviewed.
Well, you can just have goal line
And
technology. You don't even need a VAR for that.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think that is really what they should be using, similar to the way that the Premier League uses it. I think it is a huge aspect that goals changed games, and everybody knows that. You need to make sure you're getting these calls correct because that goal could have not gone over the line. It could have been given, and that changes the game completely in the opposite direction. They have to get these calls right. And yeah, I do blame the refs for that.
Okay. Matt, thoughts on this?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it crossed the line. I don't think it was a foot over. Because you were saying, I think it bounced like right over the line. I think it was a goal. I think we all agree it's a goal. They don't have what is it, a fifth official on the goal line?
I think that's what they're
And
called. Yeah, I never know what to call them, but yeah, I think fifth
yeah,
official.
yeah. So they don't have one, right?
No.
No, only the
Okay, yeah.
Champions
So
League.
like you can see the sideline ref in the background. I mean, he has to keep up with the last defender. Well, technically second to last defender.
Hey,
Who,
Matt
ref.
knows the rules.
Yeah. But like it was what? Because the shot was from outside the box. Nobody else was in the box. He has an angle from away, like from the 18 yards out from the sideline. So I guess it's a little bit understandable, but we all agree it should be a goal.
Agreed.
I think
And
the
that,
referee lost concentration because no one thought that he was going to drop that ball through his legs into the net. So the referee probably wasn't
Yeah.
paying attention. So that is on him at that point.
yeah, but that's also understandable. So, like, those were the two exact points I was going to make. So the shot was from outside. It was directly at the goalkeeper. 99 times out of 100, a professional goalkeeper just catches that, doesn't try to palm it down or just catches it or palms it down and successfully just picks it back up. And so the referee, I'm sure, had that moment of hesitation where the shot's right at it, saw the goalkeeper hit his hands, and so he paused to start to move forward with the play and then realized that the ball had bounced behind and then tried to get back into position. I think ultimately he can't give that goal unless he's 100% sure, and he wasn't in a position to be 100% sure. I somewhat excuse the official, but I think that they just need they need goal line technology. That's just clear as day. But I don't fault the official or think that, they have something against Barcelona or anything like that. There's always conspiracy theories in La Liga related to Real Madrid and Barca, which are always fun to read. But I don't think that there was anything more sinister there.
I don't think there was anything sinister. I think he just made a bad call.
Fair enough. I would agree with that. So this is a non-sinister, no conspiracy theory podcast. That's
for this time.
Oh yeah, we love a good conspiracy theory. So with that, guys, we're going to keep this energy high and flowing in our next segments. You're going to hear some music, and then we're going to be right back. Stick with us. Oh man, I feel like we're pretty low energy today, guys.
Yeah, I'm really tired.
Yeah. Okay. Matt's about to pass out. Christian, we gotta up our game. Okay.
But are we carrying Matt again for the 53rd time?
Matt didn't find that funny. All right, ready? Welcome back, listeners, to our second segment, jumping right into things. Saul's story, I don't know how credible this is, but we'll link to it in the podcast show notes. And Peru is having an issue with their football association. So their governing body, FIFA has a law or a rule, whatever the heck it's technically called, that government can't be involved in the governance of soccer in a domestic body. And so theoretically, Peru could be kicked out of the World Cup because their government is interfering with their soccer governing body. And so this story that we'll link to has, maybe Italy or Chile or even the US may end up going to the World Cup. Matt, did you read this story? What do you make of all of this going on? Do you think anything comes of it or not? Hey, Matt.
Hey, Matt.
Hey, Matt.
Matthew.
Oh, man. It's going to be another one of these.
He's just smiling.
No, you're on mute.
Oh yeah, there we go. You were so far behind. Yeah, sorry, I was lagging right there. Yeah, you're talking about Chile being kicked out, right? Or Peru being kicked out.
Yes.
Yes, Peru being kicked out.
Okay. We talked about it in the text, but when I looked, um, but what's
Podcast
so funny?
listeners can't. Podcast listeners can't, they're not involved in our text, Matt, so they would love to hear your opinion.
Yeah, I know. I was getting to that.
Okay,
What do you mean? Why am I
it's okay.
concerned? That was I'm saying that's the extent of what I knew about it because Christian, I think, sent it, and then I looked it up, and there was like no like traction to the story. Or everything I looked up was saying, these teams might get added, but they definitely won't get into it
Yeah.
because it said it was definitely not going to happen.
Okay, so you don't think that there's any possibility of this? I mean, so for listeners, there is somewhat of a historical precedence here. Back in the early '90s, Yugoslavia went through a civil war, and they were qualified for the Euros. Ended up getting kicked out of the Euros, and Denmark actually came in and ended up winning the whole thing. It's one of the most ridiculous stories out there. So there's somewhat of a precedence here, but that was a little different situation. Christian, your take on all of this?
I don't think that Peru is going to get kicked out. I don't. But if they were to, the only two possible teams that I could see getting fit in there is New Zealand, who they beat in that knockout stage, which I think would be the most fair, or Chile, who are the next team down in their confederation. Those are the only two real possibilities that should be taken. The fact that the rule is stated that FIFA gets to choose the team they want to add is ridiculous to me. Did you see that that is how the rule is written?
I did not. That is
That
news
is
to me, and that's
no.
insane.
Yeah, that is how the rule is written. They can choose whatever team they want to be added into the World Cup or whatever tournament is happening at that time. That is absurd
We
that they
better
have
throw the
that power
best
to do
bribe.
it. And that's why I'm saying, like, if that is real, that's why in the article that I sent you guys, they're saying the U.S. would probably be the most financially beneficial for them because we offer ridiculous, like, television deals and all that. So, I mean, it would be awesome for us to get in. It's not going to happen, but it would be amazing.
I don't even want to get in that way, to be honest. I think I'm 100% on board with you. I think it should either be Chile or New Zealand. I don't see how it could make any sense to allow us or Netherlands or Italy in there. I didn't know that that was a rule for FIFA could choose, so that makes a little bit more sense why the article even mentioned it. But it's FIFA, so you never know what the heck's going to happen.
Yep.
So, so would you say like you wouldn't be, as happy if we went to like the semifinals?
Yes.
Oh,
If we won the World
I'd be
Cup right
just as
now
happy.
from them throwing us in, what would you do? You wouldn't celebrate?
I'm sure I'd celebrate, but there'd definitely be an asterisk there, and we'd all know that we didn't earn it, right? Like
So
it
Denmark
wouldn't
didn't earn
sully
it?
it. It would sully it. Denmark
I
did earn it.
deserve this.
Denmark did earn it. They were the next qualifiers up. The U.S. has
Mm.
no business being there.
We were so close.
If Chile or New Zealand goes on a run after they've been granted in, and I was a fan of those countries, I wouldn't feel slighted at that point. But the U.S. has no business being there,
I agree with that.
right? And so that's where I'm coming from. But
Yep.
if they do get let in, that'll be all right. I'll still be a fan.
Yeah, I'll get a little in the back door.
All right, and so let's go back over to Europe and talk about Christian. Another article you sent to us, and a story came out where I think Sport Intelligence. I think they were the organization that compiled the numbers, but we'll link to it in the show notes. Neymar, player for PSG, makes as much as all of the 7 top leagues, women's leagues in the world, players combined. I think I said that right. But he basically makes as much money himself as the top, not the top players, all of the women's players in the top 7 league combined. Christian, your take on that figure, and I don't think it's fair to criticize Neymar for that, but it's certainly an astounding number.
Yeah. I don't blame Neymar for that in any way. It's not on him. It's the culture of sports, really, that women just don't make as much. And it is not. I think that men should make more just because of entertainment value. They bring in more revenue, and that's just how it is. I don't think that's like fair, I guess, at the end of the day because we started way before they did. But at the current time, that's the way it is, and there is more entertainment value. And physically, it's just the way things are. I'm not going to go into all of that, but that's how it
No,
is.
give us a
I
biology
just
lesson, please.
Keep going.
Yeah.
Keep going with this.
I just think that it is a little unfair that he makes that much money, that he makes as much as 7 different countries worth of women professional soccer players. That just is astounding to me that one person makes that much compared to anything. That is so much money.
Well, I don't know about compared to anything, but definitely comparing the same profession. And also, these are the top 7 leagues. It's not like this is just 7 random women's leagues. This is the top 7 leagues, and they're not comparing. I think in the article, it did cite that tennis, Wimbledon made the decision to award the same prize money to men and women. And so, I think what it's going to have to take is governing bodies need to take more initiative and just start offering the money, because it's a chicken and egg situation. As it's the same thing similar to MLS players when they weren't compensated very well and the bottom of the roster just wasn't as good. If women are only making, I think in England it was £26,000 on average per year. That's the average player. They have to worry about other jobs. They have to worry about their income. They can't take as good of their care of their bodies and all of that. And so, if they're making more money, they can really focus and just dedicate to the craft. And I think the quality improves, and then the more sponsorship runs in and all of that stuff. So that's kind of my stance on it. I have some other thoughts, but Matt, I'll let you jump in here and give your thoughts.
Yeah, the number he's getting paid is absurd, how much money he's making. Even like before this year, like we didn't think this would happen like this soon, where players getting paid this much. Like, he's getting paid so much more. The transfer fee and then the contract, how much more he's getting paid than just even so much more than men. I mean, obviously, that's just kind of like, when you think about it, it's kind of disgusting how big the gap is with the wage, especially now with, you don't know how PSG or even Man City or United are going to throw contracts at people now. It's just going to be, and it's going to keep getting like bigger and bigger, the gap, because the men's is still like going up by, 100,000 a week after like this year. So I think it's just, just frustrating to see. But yeah, obviously, I think like you said, the governing bodies are gonna have to step in, because it's like to get like similar prizes for the World Cup, or similar awards for the Women's World Cup to the Men's World Cup, or like the Women's Champions League and the Men's Champions League.
Exactly. And the other piece that, Christian, you were alluding to as far as like biology and physics and all of that stuff. Yeah, I mean, physically, women aren't as fast as the men, but soccer is one of the few sports where everything the men do, the women can kind of do. Like in basketball, women aren't throwing down 360 windmill dunks and, doing all of that stuff. So there is a different entertainment value between kind of men's basketball and women's basketball, just citing that as an example. But in soccer, I mean, you have bicycle kicks, you have quick movements, you have solo runs, you have screamers from outside the box. And yeah, it may be a little bit slower or not quite as physical, but I think a lot of those same elements that are present in the men's game are pretty much all present in the women's game too.
Yeah, I think soccer is more of a skill sport. So I understand what you're saying there. It's not all about physical attributes. But physical attributes are a lot of the times what many of those people come to see. A lot of the neutral fans, that's what they want to see. They want to see high speed. They want to see tackles. They want to see powerful strikes. And it's just men have more of that. It's just, that's biology and that's how it is. But at the end of the day, the people who understand the sport the most understand the skills and the time and dedication it comes to really put it all together. And men and women can be equal in that way.
Absolutely. So I think what the first shoe that needs to fall, I think, is governing bodies or leagues need to just come together and just award similar prizes, and then hopefully from there sponsorship comes in, and then you can drive, things that way. Whether it's revenue sharing between clubs and all of that, hopefully they can figure something out, because I think that it needs to improve, and I think enough people are talking about it nowadays that I think the future looks better for those things to improve. So that's my hope.
And I feel like most of the teams like in the world have like a sister club with them where it's a men and a women's team. At least in Europe, I see it, and in the US, that's how it is. So maybe just a partnership that way would help improve the way things are run right now.
Absolutely. Matt, anything else you want to add on this?
No, you guys got it.
All right, cool. That's the end of our second segment, listeners. We will be right back in your ears with our third and final segment. Stick with us here. Hey, guys, anything you wanted to add, or are we good to just keep rolling here?
Let me in your ears.
Matt,
I'm good to keep going.
Matt's gonna die.
Matt may actually pass away while we're recording right now. Welcome back, everyone, to our third and final segment here. Kicking things right off in Deutschland, Dortmund versus Schalke match from this past weekend. Dortmund went up 4-0 at halftime. Schalke came back, made the match 4-4 on a dramatic 93rd, 94th minute corner kick to end the match 4-4. Christian, what are your thoughts on this match? What's your take on Dortmund's just absolute free fall after starting so well? Should Peter Bosz be fired, the Dortmund manager? What do you think?
Oh my, this game summed up their season perfectly.
That's a good point.
They went up 4-0 in the first half. Everything was going smoothly. They were setting records. They were one of the best teams to ever start in the Bundesliga this year. They had an awesome first half in this game. Halftime comes along. I don't know what happens in that dressing room. I think they just became complacent. Their manager really didn't inspire them enough to come out and really just be professional, see this game off. And if Liverpool had not done this last week, almost the exact same thing, I'd be ripping them apart. But regardless, I'm going to rip them apart.
Irregardless, really.
Yeah, irregardless, yeah. So irregardless. They are I don't even – it's so hard for me to put this into words because it's absurd to me that you ever let a 4-goal lead slip. I've only ever seen it happen once before, and it was Arsenal against Newcastle, which was a completely different scenario, I think, because Diaby, I'm pretty sure, is the one who got the red card in that game. You remember him? It was either Diaby or Song. I can't remember. It's one of their center midfielders back in the day. Gets sent off right at halftime, and everything changed. In this game, I think there was a red card.
But it wasn't until the 79th minute.
It was a little bit later.
And it was Aubameyang,
71st
too.
minute? Yeah. So it's their striker. That's a whole different scenario going on there. You have to be able to see that out. Yeah, it's 4-2 at that time, and you're down a man. But you were up 4-0 in this game. All you have to do is sit in a defensive shell and counterattack. That team is built to attack on the counter. They have so much pace in them. And yeah, you lose Aubameyang at that time, but they have enough attacking, creative talent to attack. And that cannot happen. You cannot score 4 goals in the first half, give up 4, and not score any in the second half. That is pathetic. But credit to Schalke for not giving up and keeping on fighting the entire game.
I'd argue that Dortmund doesn't have a backup center striker, and that's why they've really been struggling, because Aubameyang is really checked out for them. And I know we were talking before we were recording that he's free to leave in January, but I think that's really what's been throwing them all off. Matt, what was your take on this whole match and Dortmund situation?
Yeah, it was an awesome game. I saw the highlights of it and the Twitter banter between the Dortmund and Schalke accounts. Incredible, the halftime 4-0, and Dortmund posted a gif of them celebrating at the end, of them taking shots or whatever. And at the end, Schalke responded with them 4-4 and them drinking too. And just it was just funny to see that with the teams. But the game, you can't let up 4 goals in the second half when you're up 4-0. After they score 1. And then again, after they score 2, and you get a red card, you should make another adjustment. It's just so much had to go wrong. It's like watching a U.S. Soccer game. So much had to go wrong for them to lose this game, and it just happened. So I don't think it's. Wait, Pulisic's still hurt, right?
No, he played.
I think he played. Yeah, he was back for this. McKennie played too for Schalke, but he was withdrawn in the middle of the first half. So neither of them apparently played pretty well.
Oh, well, that's disappointing. But I was also going to say, Pulisic, if he loses his coach, things could also go pretty bad for him. He's out of the World Cup league. Or are they eliminated yet?
Yeah,
They already
they,
They're
are out.
eliminated, yeah. So they're eliminated
well,
out of Champions League.
they'll be in Europa League at least.
If they lose their coach, like you hope like he's getting the same time because of how you don't know how a new coach is gonna like a certain player. So I just hope that it works out for him because that's pretty much the main worry from this game for me.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point, and I worried about the same thing when Tuchel left last year. But Pulisic came in, he proved himself under Bosch, and he's been an integral part of his squad. And I know Pulisic was really highly rated by Klopp too. So at this point, there's three separate managers, and yeah, you never know how a new manager is going to come in and rate him. But I am a little bit more at ease at this point with believing in Pulisic being able to prove his talent under a new manager. But I am still slightly worried about that situation, though, because clearly Bosch rates him very, very well.
I think,
Matt, let's talk about. Oh, go ahead, Christian.
so I was just going to say Bosch, I think, is going to be safe for at least right now. He's really treading on thin ice right now, but
He's treading
is
on
still
thin
in
ice. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Is that the right way to
Walking
say that? He's walking on
walking,
thin ice.
walking,
Yeah, I don't think
yeah.
you
But
tread on thin ice.
you
You
could
tread
tread.
water.
I could tread.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I
I
tread
don't
on
think,
ice.
yeah,
You don't know.
I don't think you do.
You don't know about my treads.
I don't
All right,
think
so
so.
okay, so I just think that he's going to be given a little bit more time. I don't think it's time to fire anybody yet. It's still only 3 months into his tenure at the club, correct? Or is he
Yeah.
there last year? Yeah,
No,
this is
no,
only
this
three.
is
Yeah,
his
yeah, I was about to
first.
say. Yeah, and I just am never about firing people that quickly. Yeah, they started really, really well, so they have to remember he did do that as well. He just needs to get the locker room together. He needs to get the players behind him again because Aubameyang has got to get out of there. He clearly is kind of a virus in that dressing room, I think, and he needs to and a player of his quality when he's not interested in being there, he's not going to bring it, and you got to find someone to replace him, and you're going to bring in a lot of money for someone of that talent.
Yep, you're not about that firing manager life, Chris.
I am not, but I think that if he does go and no one believes in Pulisic, Klopp is just sitting there waiting.
I'd be okay with that. I got on my Liverpool scarf right now. Hey, that's fine. Matt, anything else you want to add here?
No.
Cool. Let's talk about something that you texted us about. Robert Lewandowski, I guess his wife came out and said it, but apparently he wants to play in LA before he retires from professional soccer. He's in his late 20s, maybe 30. I can't remember how old he is. Getting up there. What do you think about him coming to MLS, the fact that they only want to go to LA? What are your thoughts there, Matt?
Yeah, I mean, it's annoying that he only wants to go to LA, but I think he's awesome for the MLS. He's a huge soccer star. Probably maybe the best striker in the world.
He's in the discussion.
Yeah, he's in the discussion. So I think him wanting to come to America is awesome. Came out and said it that like they want to spread their brand and
brand.
that's the only thing I was thinking about.
My brand.
But I think it's awesome that he wants to come here, and I think it's only good for the MLS, him raising quality, and then hopefully it encourages more kids to want to be like Lewandowski in America.
But so he's 30 at this point. I'm just going to say he's 30. I don't know how old he is.
He just turned 29.
He's 29. His contract, I think, runs through 2020, so it's at least 2.5 more years. So he's early 30s at that point. Are you still good with him coming to America at that point, Matt?
Yeah.
Okay, so you don't.
Yeah.
So age isn't a factor for you. You don't care that he would be like a retired player, kind of coming over, quote unquote, retired player.
I think it's still going to be competitive. Like, I think Villa is good for the league. Henry was good for the league.
Kaká.
Robbie Keane. Robbie Keane's a good one, but Kaká, like Pirlo, Lampard, even Gerrard, like they came over after, like later than they should have, and with the league kind of improving in quality, I think
Kaká was fine when he came over. The other ones, I agree with, but Kaká was good when he first came over.
He could never stay healthy. They were playing on turf. I disagree. I think he maybe had moments, but for he was the highest paid player in the league. And I don't think he performed anywhere close to that level.
Yeah.
Okay. But sorry, Christian, what are your thoughts on Lewandowski potentially coming over?
I hate when players say they only want to go to LA. It really drives me freaking crazy. But if they want to really come and make a name for themselves, they should be willing to come to any MLS team. I know LA has great weather and has that culture of celebrities and all that, but you should, if you want to come and you want to kind of contribute to the MLS, you shouldn't just limit yourself to one city.
But I don't think they do want to contribute to MLS.
Well, if you only want to live in LA, then come when you retire. Don't come over here at 35. I mean, if he's coming at 31, that's a whole different story. He's still going to be insanely talented and probably the best striker and best player in the league by far at that time. But at 31, yeah.
Bold statements. Yes. Best player in the league by far in 2.5 years? We have no idea what the league's
He is probably the best striker in the world right now. And 2 years from now, he will still be up there.
You don't know that, but okay.
I do know that. Knows. The way he plays isn't really going at players and dribbling and causing yourself to get hit all the time. He's
a fox in the box.
Like an out and out. Yeah, and so he'll thrive on that. You just need that typical U.S. kick the ball up to the corner and cross it into the box, and he'll be there.
That's typical English. That's not typical U.S.
Is the Ballon d'Or just the Europe, or could he win in America?
We could win. We're not going anywhere. Well, no, actually, that's actually a funny comment.
Ballon d'Or actually isn't anymore, right?
Yeah, technically. So I believe it was a little education for you listeners there. So there used to be 2 separate awards for Player of the Year. FIFA gave out an award, and the Ballon d'Or was awarded by France, I think, for the best player in Europe. At some point, I believe it was the 90s, maybe. I can't remember the exact time period. They merged those 2 awards because they realized that the best players were in Europe anyways, and it didn't make sense to give out 2 awards. Over the last year or two, those awards actually split again. So the Ballon d'Or is still awarded, and the FIFA the best is still awarded. And so the best awards already happened. I think the Ballon d'Or gets awarded in January. Right, Christian?
It does. Ballon d'Or is in January, and the FIFA player, I think, is in November. It was early in November.
So technically, I think you can win the best award for best player in the world, but I don't think you can win the Ballon d'Or if you're not in Europe. I could be wrong with that.
Yeah, and I think the Ballon d'Or is more meant for a year, and the FIFA player is for a season. That's what it seems like.
Got it. Okay. So there's your lesson, Matt. Do you want to add anything to that, or do you have anything else to add?
No, I appreciate the lesson, though.
No problem. So you come here to learn something, Matt. All right, let's talk.
Learn today.
Last topic here. I sent a video. Taylor Twellman had a really good video. I believe it was from some sort of New England Revolution town hall, and we'll link to the video. But he discussed basically soccer television ratings in the United States, and MLS's kind of focus a lot of times and from a lot of fans is on how do we compete with the English Premier League or the La Liga or some of the European leagues, when in fact the Mexican league is the Liga MX or Liga MX, however you want to pronounce it, is the most watched league on television by far in the United States. And a lot of people cite that the early morning time slots for European leagues makes them, conducive to getting the highest viewership figures. But in reality, the highest viewership figures are in prime time in the evenings on Saturday nights for Liga MX. And so, excuse me, whoa, took my breath away there. Christian, what do you think MLS or just U.S. soccer, or like how does MLS kind of compete with Liga MX? Is there anything they need to do differently, because their TV figures are lagging? I think they were down from even last year, or at very least flat. So what's your take on this whole situation?
This is tough. I was listening to the rant that he was going on there, and he was saying that the New York game, I guess, was it Chicago? Was that the game he was comparing? Yeah. He was comparing that to Southampton and Stoke. So I don't know if that's really the game that I'd be comparing in that situation. You compare it to the big teams who are drawing the most viewership, but at the same time, the numbers are very close, and that should be commended. And he was talking about how the age between 21 and 35 is NBA is the top viewership in that range, but soccer, MLS, is tied with the NFL, which was shocking to me that I heard that. But honestly, I think the NFL is falling a little bit in our generation. I still enjoy it, and I know most people still enjoy it, but I think that is a testament to MLS and the fact that people are really becoming interested in soccer and want to watch it. And the league is getting better and better. I think eventually U.S. soccer and MLS is the way I was trying to say that, will pass League MX. It's just bound to happen eventually. But we're still a building league. We're only, what, 20 years old now? A
I
little
think
bit older
21.
than that? Yeah.
21.
And the league quality is getting better and better, and the facilities are getting better. The television rights are getting better. People are making more money in the sport, and it's becoming really a staple of sports in the U.S. now.
So it's all like it's a slow build, you're saying. So I think, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but you're saying like it's kind of a slow build, and as we're building, you can see a future where that happens. Do you want to put a time frame on it? Like, do you think it's going to happen in the next 5 years?
We'll pass League MX within 10 years. I think it's going to be less than that, though.
Okay, fair enough. Matt, what was your take on TV viewers and everything Christian was kind of talking about there?
Well, one thing I didn't like about his little rant was he was saying numbers never lie, but people do. But, we took AP statistics, and you remember the book? We had to read how to lie with statistics. He was leaving out a lot of information. Like, he was saying, like, he said something about Barcelona and Real Madrid isn't the most watched game, and then the next sentence he was talking about the MLS, but I'm pretty sure that game still gets more viewers than Chicago. And
I don't think he was referring to the Clasico. I think he was referring to them as teams in general. I don't think he was referring to that game.
Yeah, the Clasico definitely gets more viewership than MLS.
No. Yeah, so he was just like going like a little bit like trying to be skewed. And what is it, the NFL ratings, with Red Zone now with 18 to 25, I'm pretty sure everybody in that age is playing fantasy football, and Red Zone's the only appealing thing. So that's why I think like the NFL ratings have been going down, just because of like that whole thing. But I think he's like right that there is like Liga MX is the most watched league, and that you can develop a following that isn't just European soccer, if you build a good enough product and you get a good enough culture. So I think he was right with that, but I think he was a little bit, just being like too aggressive about it and saying like, it seemed like he was like blaming everybody for not watching U.S. soccer.
Yeah, he gets a little dramatic and overreacts to a lot of stuff you see over the years.
Yeah, he makes good points, but then he can be overly dramatic and kind of turn people off. Because I'm kind of the same way. I like sometimes the points that he makes, but other times he can just be too theatrical with it and kind of shuts.
How does he feel about concussions though? I don't really know yet.
Well, no, I mean that's it's a legit issue, and that ended his career. So I won't fault him for that. I'll fault him for a lot of other things, but I won't fault him for that stuff. I don't really have anything more to add. I agree with you guys. I think that he was citing examples from the Premier League rights and wasn't really a fair comparison when comparing to MLS. And he was also kind of picking and choosing. He was, I think, himself lying I don't want to say lying, but he was kind of doing what he was accusing others of doing, and just kind of only giving certain facts to make the story appear a certain way. But I'm totally with Christian. I think especially over these next like 3 years, you're going to see a huge influx of money into MLS from the owners. And then there's going to be a new deal, a new television rights deal, I think is in 2022. And the new collective bargaining agreement with all the players is before then, I want to say. And you're going to see a ton of new money coming in. And I think you're going to just see an influx of really talented players coming from all over the world. And I think that's going to be really the point of inflection. There's a term for you guys, point of inflection, where the league really starts to take off. Guys, anything else to add about this topic or any other topics we have talked about today?
Nope.
No.
Okay. Christian, yes, you do.
That wasn't one of the topics we talked about today.
The player? Or anything
I thought
else.
You were going to mention that. Sorry. Oh, okay, I'm sorry. I didn't realize that. Okay, I don't have the picture up right now, so I can't remember what his name is. It's Ryan, McClello? Do you think that's how you pronounce it?
Sure, just keep going.
Okay. I don't actually know what team he plays for, but he played against Doncaster. Is it Doncaster?
He plays for Wigan. Ryan called.
He plays for Wigan. Okay.
And he plays for Wigan, and they played against Doncaster.
Okay.
Do you want me to?
Well, yeah, I want you to tell it because I don't have the picture right now.
All right. So this guy, he scored a brace against Doncaster. He was subbed off in the 55th minute. He then sprinted down the tunnel, got to the hospital, and saw the birth of his son still in his entire full kit. So he's there, shin guards and everything, holding his newborn son. So he had quite the night. So that is awesome. We'll tweet out that from our Twitter handle. And so congrats to him and his wife. That was awesome to see. The other thing I wanted to mention, we will link to this. FC Union Berlin U16 team had a absolutely absurd free kick routine that resulted in a goal. We'll link to it. I can kind of describe it, but really you got to watch it, guys. Any thoughts or anything you wanted to add on the video?
I think it's just genius. The one guy does a flip over the ball, then nobody marks him as he runs free into the box and gets the ball back and scores. It's whoever would have thought of that.
Matt, anything you wanted to add?
Well, the Germans would have thought of that. And
the Germans.
The Germans, yeah.
The Germans.
Oh, yeah.
But I didn't understand the goalie thing. After the goalie seemed like just like started attacking the ref.
Was he mad at the ref?
Something about the
was he
free
like
kick.
just yelling at the players in general?
Like I think he was running at the ref, but nothing was wrong with that play. The kid just
maybe he was asking
nice
for
diversion.
a handball from the chest, but that's ridiculous. It was clearly not a foul in any way during.
And
that
even if
play.
it was, that goal was too pretty to be taken away. So the goalkeeper should know that.
Maybe he was mad that the original free kick was given. You never know. You don't know what happened before the video.
Perchance. Christian, you want to recap our trivia question? We'll give our answers.
Yeah. So a goal was scored, an own goal, in the Bundesliga this weekend, and it was a monumental goal. How many own goals have been scored?
Matt?
Since the beginning of the Bundesliga in 1962. Don't interrupt me ever again.
Matt?
Wait, 1962? Okay.
No, 1836.
1962. You fucking dick.
All right. I'm gonna go with 1,000.
That's gonna be my guess too.
1,000?
1,001.
Matt went with 1,001.
Okay, yes. Give
Yeah,
us...
I'll one up them.
All right, it was 1,000.
I win. All right. Listeners, thank you for being here. Thank you for listening to us each and every week. We appreciate it. If you want to check out any of the stories and topics we talked about in this week's episode, they will be in the podcast show notes. We will also tweet them out from our Bros Talking Soccer Twitter handle, which is at BT Soccer Pod. Go follow us there. If you want to get in contact with us, our email is bros.talking.soccer@gmail.com. Completely forgot to plug Fan Futsal. I have a fantasy soccer website. You should go check that out. It is, we're simplifying fantasy soccer, fanfutsal.com. We have a video on there. You should check it out. If you're listening to this, you like soccer, so you will enjoy that. That is all for this week. Christian and Matt, thank you both for being here. And listeners, we will talk to you next week. See you, everyone. Bye-bye. People on YouTube, thank you very much for tuning in. You will see Matt has survived this. Matt, please, dear God, get some water and some sleep. Do not go out drinking, okay? You need food or something because you
don't tell him how to live his life.
No, I had 2 meals and I had like 6 water bottles.
Okay, all right. Please be careful.
Go get wasted. Don't listen to
All
Dave.
$2 Long Island.
See you,
Bye,
YouTube viewers.
YouTubers. Bye.